to tell you about me, and one of the biggest parts of me right now is my experience with rowing. So, have you ever wondered what you might do if you had no fear? This is a book that I had given to me by, as you know, Dan. He's all about doing things if you have no fear. And I like to think that a lot of us are afraid to try new things because it's out of our comfort zone. And we're afraid that we might fail at something, so therefore we don't take that first step to try something new. I'd like to tell you about how I did the thing that I thought I could not do. Okay, I was never involved in sports in school. I was always afraid that I wasn't good enough and I didn't want to try for any teams or anything. I wasn't very athletic. So when I started spending more time at St. John's, I became interested in the sport of rowing. I used to walk around Kitty Vitty Lake and I'd noticed the teams that they're practicing for the regatta. I thought to myself, like, how did they get there? Where did they come from? How did they get involved? And of course I thought, I'd never be able to do that, but I would love to. Nonetheless, at the age of 20, I was finally introduced to the sport that I felt destined to participate in. It all started at a cabin party on Labor Day weekend in 2005. I met a woman that later became my coxswain. Coxswain is the person who steers the boat, or basically your coach. And she was telling everybody about how she coxed a ladies' crew that previous summer and how much fun they had. And I was ecstatic because I finally met a connection for me to get involved in rowing. So with that, she gave me an offer, and she said if I found 5 women who were interested in rowing and were committed, that she would be our coxswain the following year. So with that, I went directly to my sister, who's 2 years older than me. Her name is Jennifer. And she agreed to row with me. And then I asked some girls on my kickboxing team. And I found 4 other girls, and they all agreed. So we had a team, and Jackie, the coxswain, she decided that she would take us. So, at that point, I was very excited to get on the pond. It was still only winter, so I had about 5 months before we would get out there. But on that first day, it was well worth the wait. I was extremely nervous, not used to getting into boats or doing water sports at that time, so getting into the boat even was a task for me. But once we got out in the water, it was the best thing ever. It felt like second nature after a few weeks. And we practiced every morning, every evening. It was very, very busy, and it's a huge commitment. You do it for the whole 4 months, and it takes up a lot of your time. You have to really be dedicated to do it. But it was great. We became bonded as a crew, and we had a great summer. It was a wonderful experience. So, after 2 years rowing with that crew, I was asked by a much more experienced coxswain who had coxed a lot of women's championship race. A lot of you probably know that St. John's Regatta, you have races all day long. Then the top 5 crews are in the championship race. So this coxswain asked myself if I'd be interested in rowing on his crew, which he hadn't developed yet, but he wanted to start one. And he wanted it to be with rowers who had rowed before, but had never rowed competitively or had never won in a championship race. So I agreed, of course. I was flattered that he had asked me, because being a non-athlete, as I still considered myself, I jumped at the opportunity. And of course, I said I want my sister to row with me. So it was myself and my sister, and over the next month or so, we found 4 other girls again who were competitive. We would spot people at the gym. We were on the erg, which a lot of you probably know is the rowing machine. And we would just watch people, you know, and ask people, are you interested in rowing? And ask what their experience was. You kind of spot rowers. They've got the big legs and big backs, you know. So anyway, between both of us, we found a crew, and they all agreed to do the training because there's no more training involved this time around. So we were told that we would have to practice pretty much every day until we got on the pond, because we started practicing in November. So practicing involved basically about 3 45-minute practice pieces on the erg every week, and that was agony for me, honestly. I got calluses to prove it. It was pretty brutal. But we did that for 6 months before we hit the pond in May. It was a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it. There was a huge difference between this and what I'd done the previous 2 years. The team bonding was the same, if not better. We became like family. We saw each other every day. We considered each other like the relationships that we bring. Some of us were actually in relationships that summer. And we soon realized that we actually had potential to win the regatta that year. So this was overwhelming for all of us. And after we put our hearts into it, we actually did come out on top. We won the regatta. We won the first race in the morning, and we won the race in the evening. We rowed 5:03:51, which is a great time for the regatta. There's only 5 crews that actually broke the 5-minute mark in the race. So we're pretty proud of ourselves. So after we crossed the finish line, the cameras were on us as we pulled up to the winner's stop. It was a very proud moment. We all received our own personal gold medals, and we got our pictures taken with the Kim Sterling Memorial Trophy. It's a very old trophy. It's a gold boat. And we all had our pictures taken. We were on TV. It was great. So after that, we were also invited to a formal dinner celebration with the Regatta Committee to celebrate our accomplishments. We were all given a special token, a little glass engraved trophy. So I have to say, I could never have portended that any of this would ever have been achieved. But I know that if you want to do anything, you have to take that first step. So my call to action for everyone is, as Eleanor Roosevelt, and Jill, who disappeared, had said last week, you must do anything that you think you cannot do. So, thank you.